once he understands to go forward controlled, then I can take and I can move on to hindquarter control. So, you know, I've taught hindquarter control quite a bit. And what I try to do is always start in a halter, and I will come around here and ask for the hip, and I always block right here with this hand. And what I try to do is not rely on my halter to bend the horse's head, but keep a loose rein and block him. And if he wants to get outside of my circle, then I can pull him in. But right now I just want there to be slack in this lead rope and move that hip. If he goes outside of that, I can pull him back in. He gets excited, I can pull him back in. And in the beginning, it's not always easy, right? The horse is never going to take and react like you want him to. So I've got him moving his hip, but he's following me here. And if he wants to take and run away and go to a corner, I'll put pressure on him to teach him that that's not the right reaction I want. I want him to take and stay with me. So I make that corner that he wants to run to a uncomfortable place. So he's learned that if he'll just stay with me here and disengage his hindquarters, then it's a whole lot easier than running away from me, going to the corner, getting pressure put on him, and then having him face to me. So he's come a long way with that. So I always start in the halter. Then sometimes I'll go right here from the halter. I'll ask the old horse to bend. Get up here close and personal with him. So I've got my hand on his face, and he can leave if he wants to. And I'll just ask him to move his hip. Now if he wants to bolt and go, he can. But there again, if he bolts and goes, then I'm going to put pressure on him and push him out of that corner. Right here, he thinks he's got to move. I never want to connect me just coming back here and rubbing with him moving his hip. See, he doesn't understand what's pressure and what's not. I'll bend him here. See, he thinks I want him to move. I don't want you to move. I might even not move him a few times, okay? I'll come to this side. Do the same thing here. Bend him, see him drop his head, rub on him. There we go. I'll rub him here. Now I ask him to move. He moved that hip. He may back up. He may do all kinds of things. Now he thinks he has to move, see? So he doesn't understand that this is not pressure. Presence is not pressure. Move that hip. Good boy. Good boy. Sit down. Head down. And I'll come back to this side. He's a little bit more resistive on this side on the spectrum of hide, run, fight. He's a little bit more resistive on this side than he is normally. I want him to just be comfortable with me coming up here and patting on him. I'll pre-signal, ask him to move that hip. Good boy. Good boy. always want him to come back to head dropped, bent. There you go. Nope, sit down, sit down. Anything I do that causes him to be scared or tight or anything, then I'll just drop his head and say, yeah, you don't got to be worried about that. All right. So first, with a halter, then with my hand, and as I showed you before, just move that hip.
Hindquarter control, in my opinion, is one of the most valuable maneuvers you will teach a horse. You know, I call them the 5 basic tools of horsemanship, and one of those is the hindquarter control, particularly on a horse that wants to run away, wants to take and leave all the time and not stay connected to you. That it's a really good way to get that connection back, because as soon as you have a horse that's ready to leave, if their sense of protecting that hindquarters, or you know, moving that hindquarters when you put pressure on it, when it is heavier in the balance than their fear of moving away, then they'll take and they'll reconnect back with you. They'll watch you. And Rowdy's still a little bit reactive about it. You know, any pressure he's reactive about, but he's a little bit more reactive, and he's not really responding. And that's the thing that we have to remember. Just because a horse is doing something doesn't mean they're doing it from the correct place in their mind, and it doesn't mean that they're understanding it correctly. A horse that moves out of fear is not a stable horse. They're not going to be a productive citizen. So what I have to keep doing with a horse like that is show them what is pressure and show them what's not pressure, and just keep doing it until they slow down and they think about it, and they're thinking and not reacting. So when I take and I work him here, you know, freestyle or at liberty, he's protecting his hip is what he's doing. I've asked him to move his hip quite a bit, taught him to disengage his hips. He was fairly good at it, but everything that this horse did was from a reactive standpoint, not somebody teaching him that this is pressure, move away from pressure, and then take that pressure off. Everything has been kind of thrown at him, you know, and they've got a reaction out of him, and they go, look, see, I'm moving the hindquarters. When reality is that he is just reacting to the pressure, not really thinking about it. And that sets you up for a whole relationship of a horse just reacting to everything you do, and that's where we're at with Rowdy. That's what we're trying to overcome. And it's real important when, you know, you're asking a horse to move their hindquarters, particularly up here close and personal, that you don't get the horse anticipating what you're going to want. So a lot of times I'll bend the horse, rub on them, and then I won't ask them to move their hips, and I'll kind of mix it up back and forth until the horse really doesn't know what I'm going to do. I don't want it to become a habit that if I bend your head and I'm back here rubbing on you, you move your hip. Again, that's that reactive side of his brain. He has learned to anticipate the pressure, and eventually what he has done is he has just seen presence as pressure. So I'll mix it up sometimes. I'll just bend him and rub him and pat him, and then go to the other side, do the same thing, and then do less of the hindquarter disengagement from this standpoint, than I do just letting him be okay with me rubbing him and bending him and that sort of thing. And I never want anything like lateral softness, getting him to bend and getting him to drop his head. I never want that to be associated with just moving the hip. I want him to be able to bend, drop his head, and relax and be in that position and not think about moving his feet. So I don't, every time I pick up on a horse's head, and that's a true sign of a reactive horse, is if you touch their mouth, they move their feet. I really dislike that kind of training. I like for my horse's head to be independent from their feet, so that when I'm wanting them to move a particular direction or move in a particular way, it's not dependent upon my hands, but it's dependent upon my feet and my seat, and to get them to understand that they don't have to react every time I touch the bit. If you have a horse that moves his feet every time you touch the bit, you've got a reactive horse. It may not be on the spectrum as bad as Rowdy is, but you would touch the rein and he would literally jerk his head around, and his feet would move, and he's moving somewhere. Sometimes he don't even know where he's moving. So this is a really good exercise to teach a horse that just because I move your head does not mean you have to move your feet. Just because there's pressure applied does not mean you have to run 100 miles an hour. And that was another thing that he was really bad about, was just if you asked him to move, he did it 100 miles an hour, and he was reacting to the pressure. So I believe, and I'll state again, that hindquarter control is one of the most important tools that you'll develop in your horse to keep that connection at liberty.
So until next time, trust in the Lord and do good. Live off the land. Enjoy the bounty of it. We'll see you later.